coming.
Good afternoon, sir. Just time to make host. Yeah. No, 1 minute, 1 minute. Ma'am, just you start, ma'am. Now I am good afternoon to one and all. Our resource person already joined, and I am requesting Dr. Srutaswini Gogoi, ma'am, to welcome the resource person and the participants. Today is the 6th day of 21-day international workshop from faculty development program ICSSR-NERC sponsored on innovative techniques for professional development of teachers in higher education. Ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm highly delighted to introduce our today's resource person, Dr. Prasenjit Biswas, sir, Associate Professor, Department of Philosophy, NEHU, Shillong, for the first session of 6th day of International Workshop on FDP on Innovative Techniques for Professional Development of Teachers in Higher Education. His areas of interest are phenomenology, continental philosophy, philosophy of mind, philosophy of tribes of Northeast India. Sir has authored 7 books and successfully completed 1 project. Sir has authored 7 books and he has successfully completed 1 project, and Sir has received East Line Scholarship from USA. Sir has presented almost 110 research papers in various international and national platforms. Sir is regularly contributing in the Statesman on issues related to Northeast India. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Srutaswini, please continue.
Yes, sir. Now it is over to you, sir.
It is
Okay.
audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Srutaswini and Dr. Amar, for all your kind words and kind efforts to have me here amongst all of you. And what I wanted to do is something like reaffirm, the need for reading and reading books, which is, in a sense, taking a toll in this era of digital communications, internet-driven classrooms, and connectivity through virtual modes. Now, what is the impact of overall what we call as Zoom academia, or an academia which is spread across the virtual world and which is part of an enhanced virtual reality? Whether this mode of enhancing a virtual reality through imaging, through texting, through producing things in videography, and also sometimes through cinematography, and some such other media, whether such presentations of the virtual world actually enhances the teaching skills, the learning skills, etc. So whether enhanced virtual worlds of learning actually enhances the potential of teaching and learning is the major question that I want to delve in this afternoon discussion. To begin with, I would say that the virtual world is something that cuts you off from the kind of contact that is necessary for transmission of knowledge, for transmission of a knowledge text, and also for communicating the inner aspects that make a learnable text possible. Once that is rendered to a certain kind of facelessness, a certain kind of non-physical contact, where communication remains at a more superficial and more virtual levels, without having a certain kind of direct understanding of each other, it largely becomes a kind of monologue. It loses the capacity to dialogue. It loses the possibility of many-voiced discourse from multiple perspectives. Instead, what emerges is a singular, focused, overarching, God's eye point of view that comes from one who delivers and which, of course, is received and responded, but at a much docile, much mediated level, without allowing the full potential of reception and responding back to from where it is coming from. It may come from a robot teacher. It can come from an artificially enhanced zombie lecturer in a virtual classroom. And the reception of such doses of knowledge in the form of data, in the form of bits and bytes, in the form of abstract digital modes of communication, which is in the form of imaging and texting, of voicing, without a human touch. To what extent such a system is able to create deep roots of learning and knowledge acquisition is a major question before us. Until and unless we give a kind of a cool thought and a kind of an in-depth critical analysis of the situation, of the distance, of the non-proximate kind of communication, of the virtuality, of the artificially enhanced reality, unless we look at what exactly it delivers, because the devil lies in details, how the details are being worked out in the virtual format, and how these details are going to influence or leave an impact on the minds of the learners and also the generations of learners is the most important question before us. And before I answer this question, I'm posing this question, whether an artificial learning mode reduces both the teacher and the learner to mere shadows, to mere digital entities removed from flesh and blood, and turns them into nodes of communication, into some kind of an input and an output at two different points or many different points, where data is encoded in one terminal and in the other terminal the data is decoded, where the teaching learning can be reduced to this mode of digital encoding and decoding procedures without reducing the teacher, the learner.
Hello.
I think sir has a poor network, ma'am. It is showing the emblem. Yeah, now it's okay. Please continue, sir.
Artificial mode of transmission of knowledge reduces the teacher and learner to mere digital beings instead of flesh and blood human beings. So these are two most important questions, questions that sort of haunt us in the digital world, questions that perplex us in understanding the extent, the level of communication in the teaching learning process. Now let me try and answer these two questions in a certain way. Now, when there is an enhanced digital learning mode, this transports us to an abstract world of images, which are calculated and produced most often in terms of a certain kind of visualization. That is, in terms of a certain kind of cognitive activity that it is supposed to produce. Whether such cognitive activity that these images produce is conducive for a learning atmosphere, whether this kind of digitization of the abstract world of images, where a text becomes a mere image, an image becomes a mere bit and the byte, only to be communicated in the form of some kind of cognitive mode of visualization, is a certain kind of cognitive distraction. It's a kind of a cognitive dissonance between the directly communicating communicator and the learner. It distracts the cognitive process of communication into a different world of cognitively enhanced visualization. And this creates a certain kind of a cognitive shift, both in the case of teacher as well as in the case of learner. Now, what kind of cognitive shift it creates? It distracts one from the content of learning to the media connectivity, where the content of learning is entirely dispersed, which cannot be any longer held or retained by the learner in himself or herself. So it's a kind of a cognitive distraction that it produces. It really doesn't come back as a kind of a ratiocination, as a kind of a cognitive recollection, as a kind of a cognitive repositioning in the memory, in the very need for retaining the knowledge content. So therefore, what is happening here is that one who is receiving such content from the abstract world of enhanced digital images is left to a certain kind of self-propelled, self-guided process of re-understanding, re-articulation, or a kind of an attempt to re-grasp, reiterate, and certain kind of cognitive distraction that keeps the learner away from the time of learning. In fact, the time and the space of learning has to be recuperated. It has to be retrieved post facto, after a while, after the moment of learning is over, as if the moment of learning is a kind of is a moment of transmission, a moment of transmission that doesn't allow the time for retention. It only allows a certain kind of a projection or a time for pretension that is throwing up something from this moment to the next moment without referring back to this moment of a content which must be learned before one goes to the next moment. So the very sequential process of learning and understanding gets distracted in this transmissional mode of communicating a knowledge content. Okay. Now this is something very necessary to understand how one can come out of this distracted multitasking mode of enhanced digital communication in the process of teaching and learning. In fact, one has to restore one's own cognitive framework, the framework in which one is grounded in one's life. Philosophers have called it this kind of a recuperation of one's own cognitive background or cognitive situation in life as life world, life-world. So one has to recuperate what has gone into the digital transmission back into the life world in which the learner as a cognitive agent, as an embodied agent is situated. How the learner as an embodied agent is situated in the life world is an important question. The learner is situated in the embodied life world. Mark the word, it's an embodied life world. An embodied life world in which the body is situated. It's not just the digital being of the learner, but it is the actual body of the learner. How does the digital being of the learner return to the actual body of the learner so that the actual brain can retain the learning content moving out of the moment of transmission is an important question. So that's a question of returning back to one's own life world, back to one's own flesh and blood life, from where one took a flight and entered into a digitally enhanced world of abstract images, of bits and bytes, of a different kind of sequencing, which doesn't allow for recuperation, collection, gathering, retention, and such other essential functions, which are absolutely essential for training one's mind, for learning in one's mind. So the point here is that the digital being of the human, created through this enhanced online mode of learning or enhanced digital mode of learning, let's call it the digital being. Now, to what extent the digital beings can communicate between them until and unless they return to their human selves is an important question. Now, at the level of the human self, where no communication is happening, and at the level of the human self, there is no direct relationality between the teacher and the learner. In such a situation, whether a digital makeover, whether substitution of the need for direct contact and communication by a digitally enhanced framework of transmission can provide us an enhanced platform of learning? Can it really create a sense of surplus, a kind of extra surplus mode of learning, which hitherto was not possible probably in the flesh and blood mode of learning? Or, to put it in a reverse way, whether digital beings are abstracted from the flesh and blood beings and therefore abstracted from the flesh and blood mode of learning and teaching into a kind of a decontextualized, defamiliarized world of representations, where one has to situate oneself by way of digitizing responses, digitizing what one gathers from that world, whether digitizing the process of teaching and learning can result into a certain reverse transmission back to the human brain or back to the limbic system, motor, limbic, learning, and motor systems that go into the decision-making processes of learning in the human brain. Okay, and where the brain can cope up to a kind of a digital elevation or a digital distraction, or rather a kind of a digital displacement to an abstract world of text and images that the enhanced digital world of learning creates. That is the question. Okay. So therefore, one of the most informed critical understanding of this digital mode of learning is that the image of a text often resists its translation in the form of perception, reception, retention, cognition, and all such knowledge processes, which are absolutely basic in a situation of learning. So these virtual images and text resists transmission at the level of cognition. And that is how the cognitive system of learning is now displaced into a digital kind of cognition or a digital mode of recuperation, storage, and transmission, which is necessarily deflected and distracted from the human kind of cognition, in which the human contact with the knowledge material had been necessary, but now which had been removed and distantiated to a kind of a digital modeling, in which the human being is taking part only as an initial point. But as the digital processes go on, the human beings are then totally absentified. Their presence is no longer traceable, registerable, because all their inputs, the human inputs, are now turned into a digital entity. And within the figuration and the domain of this digital entity, it's not possible to bring back the human once again as a kind of an instantaneous agency, for which the human beings themselves remain stuck as points of origin or points of initial agency, who began this digital processing of learning and knowledge material. Okay, so in a sense, there is a vast absence. There is a large hollowed out presence of the human, as in a hologram or in a holographic mode. The humans are reduced to the exact replica of the human. Now, in the teaching learning process, is it same as replication of the human learner? And the human learner, once replicated, whether replicated mode of the human being in a situation of replicated process of learning, can actually recreate the world of learning, which was the original objective of the teaching learning process. You see, these are very critical questions. And these questions come from the experiential character of learning. The experiential character of learning, where learning is supposed to be a first-person experience. And learning cannot be even a second-person experience or a third-person experience which is far away. And here, digital world creates a depersonified process of learning. It's neither in the first person, nor in the second person, nor in the third person. In fact, the person is hollowed out into a digital being. And this hollowed out digital personality, who is a replicated persona and who can only gather replicated forms of knowledge, whether such a digitized replicated persona of a learner or a teacher can return to the necessary cognitive grounds of learning and knowledge content. The answer is not very difficult, and the answer is certainly a clear no. To make this answer into yes, that digital beings can have cognitively enhanced mode of learning, is something like an utopia. It's an utopia. It's like a dream Just as in our human dreams, we are able to conceive of a world. We have certain thoughts in our dream. We have certain dream objects in our dreams. We have certain dream subjects in our dream. In our dream, we have a passive agency of dreaming, in the very process of dreaming. Now, learning cannot be a process of dreaming, just as learning cannot entirely be a process of digification or digitization. Learning requires an objective presence and a subjective engagement. Without the objective presence and the subjective engagement, or rather replacing the objective presence and the subjective engagement by a kind of a digital mode of communication between two different digital beings, result into a dream-like situation. It results into a certain kind of a drive for learning. It results into an enhanced desire for accumulating more and more digital material. But whether such drives and desires lead us to what we realize and actualize as something that is learned, something that is trained, and something that is an essential, inalienable, inseparable part of my learned existence, different from any other kind of obsession, hallucination, or any other altered states of consciousness that the digital world can produce, which is like a dream world. Whether that mode of existence, that mode of sense of learning as a digital subjectivity, learning through a digital object, and dreaming or driving or desiring in the form of a digital communication can make us back to the cognitive processes that are absolutely essential, inseparable of our mental processes and brain processes of learning. Is an open question. I don't want to answer this question by saying that this question gives me a certain kind of a new wave. It doesn't give me a certain kind of a new wave at all. The new brain wave is not created by this kind of a question. And therefore, I would say that one has to really understand what goes amiss cognitively from this kind of a digital mode of learning. Now, one can see here that instead of a greater accountability to learn, the whole process of learning here is replaced by a certain kind of response, dehumanized, I would say, a certain kind of response that lacks the flesh and blood, a certain kind of response that is not connected or rather disjointed from the life world, to, if we at all can call it a kind of learning, that becomes most difficult to call it a kind of learning. So in a sense, learning is replaced by something new, something different. And what is that different thing that replaces learning? Okay, so the kind of web or the Internet of Things, within which this virtually enhanced mode of communication between the teacher and the learner happens, creates a certain sense of being informed, without having a direct access to the informational content. You get informed without having access to informational content, because the informational content is a digital content. It's a digitized content which is removed from the time and space, removed from its actual context in which it emerges or arises. And therefore, it creates a sense of being informed without having access to the informational content. The informational content that one has access to is merely a digital content, is merely a replicated version of the informational content, or is merely a kind of a distantiated, archived, and transmuted form of a content, which has to be brought back into life by a re-engagement with the actual context of life and world. Whether that kind of re-engagement can happen is a question. So it creates a certain kind of disparity between the informational content and the informational context. The content may be accessed, but along with the content, the context is not accessed. Now, let me give you an example to understand this. In various types of computer program languages, you have this C++ or C++, Java language, So in Java language, if you have accessed a content, let's say a scientific content, such as a double helix structure of DNA, or a social science content in terms of the caste structure of Indian society. In JavaScript, you have accessed this. Whether that Java language now could be translated to ordinary language, which will require another round of skill to translate from Java language storage to ordinary language storage, so that the knowledge about social structure or the knowledge about double helix structure of a human gene, or any gene for that matter, is reactualizable, is regroundable into the exact actual context of knowing it as a thing, knowing it as an object. Okay. Now, the objectivity of the knowledgeable content or informational content, once reduced to an abstract computer-generated or artificial kind of intelligence, it remains at a certain level of certainty. It assumes a different level of cognition. From that level, returning back to its actual context becomes very important to make the process of learning realizable, trainable, and graspable. So the more we move towards digitalization, the more we move towards an artificial linguistic representation of informational and knowledge content, the more we are distracted from the actual context of realizability of these contents in the situations of life and learning. Okay, so this is something that is very, very important, and that distance is created. Now, this is theorized. I can give you in the form of saying that there is this disparity between the informational content and the informational context. How do we understand this disparity? We understand this disparity by thinking, by assuming that from Wikipedia or from Google sources, you can learn every bit of information, every details of history, social science, or genetics, or some such disciplinary knowledge from the repository that Google gives you access to. The whole metadata that the knowledge system is stored into can be accessed through a search engine such as Google, or can also be read in the form of Wikipedia. One can think like that. Then where is the need of a teacher? Is it that the need of a teacher then vaporizes and evaporates into a mere access to a Google Classroom or to some such virtual platform such as Wikipedia? This is the fundamental problem. So whatever is access to, whether that is learned, whatever is come to be known, whether that translates into a knowledge base, if not a storage of knowledge, which a learner or a knower is later going to apply without assistance from these kind of ready-made storages or ready-made platforms, okay? Because learning is to make oneself a little bit self-reliant in the sense of not being dependent on a given text or a given storage. Access to such storages provide a lot of material, undoubtedly, but whether the learner in the next second or at a later stage would be able to apply what has been gathered from such storages back into the life or not is an important question. Therefore, one has to really look at this entire procedure with a kind of a, I would say, a kind of a skepticism, a kind of a mode of questioning, without questioning whether the storage directly transmits into the context of application. Without asking this question, we won't be able to evaluate where we are being led to by Google search or Wikipedia, and whether we are led to a situation where the need for teaching is completely abandoned, or need for learning from a teacher is completely abandoned. Okay, so this creates a certain kind of a disparity because a student need to be taught by an expert about how to access, analyze, criticize, synthesize, and communicate knowledge from multiple perspectives and disciplines. So if a student hasn't learned how to access, analyze, criticize, etc., and this how question, how to access the database, how to pick up the necessary and the relevant information from the database, if that is not trained, what is going to happen is a jumble of a variety of informational content without developing a critical ability to translate it into knowledge and action, without being able to synthesize, synergize, and also ultimately to develop a kind of a perspective on such knowledge material, unless there is a situation of hand-holding the learner to teach and train the learner about how to access and how to translate what has been accessed into concrete form of gathering of knowledge or application of knowledge in the real life situation. So that process of learning would go completely missing, in other words. And once it goes completely missing, what happens then, to something that is absolutely essential for any teaching learning kind of a situation? What is absolutely essential for a teaching learning situation is this act of reading, an act of understanding. Now, in the process of gathering data and informational content, reading skills are substituted by some kind of a visual skill. And these visual skills do not involve mental labor. Mental labor, intellectual ratiocination, is rather skipped by way of a certain kind of a leap through visualization or through using audiovisual aids in general, which removes the process of laboring with a piece of knowledge, which is fundamental in a process of cognitive percolation or cognitive instilling of the knowledge material in the process of knowing. So therefore, it removes something very vital from the process of learning, the process of mental laboring, which passes in the name of understanding, which passes in the name of analyzing, passes in the name of developing a critical ability. All this are fundamentally removed from the process of learning, you see. And the process of learning becomes something which is only gathering of information and nothing more than that. So it creates a sense of deficiency in the process of engaging one's subjectivity. And once such a deficit remains at the level of individual learning, if learning has to be taken as a kind of a network communication, if it is to be conceived as communication between learners, what happens to communication between learners? It reduces itself to mere texting instead of dialoguing, instead of reciprocation and mutual learning from each other. So the whole learning ecosystem is now shrunk into a kind of a directness of access through audiovisual means that doesn't translate into mental laboring or intellection or conation or cognition. All this human frame of knowledge processing or content processing and retention and a certain sense of self-knowledge that arises from acquisition of knowledge, goes missing. Seemingly, such acquisition remains only at a virtual level without being owned by an acting human subjectivity. An acting human subjectivity gets disengaged, distracted, and dispersed into a process of ongoing online communication that doesn't allow individuation, that doesn't allow differentiation of levels of learning, and creates a set of homogeneous nodes of learning, like multiple computers connected in a setting of nodes in parallel and series circuits, reducing the human beings into one small part of a circuit without allowing what the human beings can give in the process of learning. Because in the process of learning, what happens is a certain kind of creative upsurge of the mind and consciousness, which gets translated into communicating between learners. And that process of communication between learners in an ecosystem of learning gets shrunk into, once again, it gets shrunken into a kind of a informational access, bereft of the context of information. So one question that was asked by an intelligent psychologist, a very, very fantastic paper, which is there before me. I could have shared it, but because of some technological difficulty, I'm not able to share my screens. But I'll speak it out in a manner that you can hear it. And you can...
Sir, we
Hello?
allowed, sir. We allowed to share your screen, sir, now.
I know you have allowed, but I have a problem,
Okay.
you know,
Okay,
with
sir.
WebEx.
Thank you, sir.
Therefore, I'm not able to share the screen, but anyway, I'll be able to explain this. That's not a problem. So a paper, you know, which is titled as "Is Google Making Us Stupid? The Impact of Internet on Reading Behavior," written by Val Hooper and Chana Herat back in 2014, you know. The title is scintillating. Is Google making us stupid? You know. So the study explored the impact of the internet on our reading behavior. Okay. Using an exploratory survey, it examined and determined the underlying patterns, you know, determined the underlying patterns of reading, the differences between online and offline reading, and the impacts of the online environment on individuals' reading behavior. Now, the findings indicated that there were definite differences between online and offline reading behavior. And the paper generalizes, I quote, "Online reading has had a negative impact on people's cognition, concentration, comprehension, absorption, and recall rates were all much lower while reading online than offline, you know. So there is a substantial reduction of the cognitive capacity, cognitive capability of the reader in the mode of online reading and online reception through audiovisual modes. You know, it has been found out that most of the readers cannot concentrate except for a very, very short time, and they cannot probably comprehend and connect, you know, things that are there in reading a text because of this indirect mode of communication that only creates a temptation to sort of move over, temptation to jump off from one point of reading to another point of reading without creating a coherent understanding of the material that has been read. While in the offline reading mode, the primary focus is on concentration, retention, and a kind of training of one's own mind, which I call as mental labor, with a book or a readable text, which is turned into bit by bit understanding, retention, gathering, accumulation of the content, and then synthesizing it into a form of understanding. Online reading mode distantiates the reader from this inner cognitive capabilities of synthesizing, of understanding, of comprehending, and displaces these inner capabilities into mere audiovisual kind of stimulation and reception, which doesn't have deep roots in the learning and cognitive faculty of the reader. Rather, the faculty of the reader gets distracted without performing the function of gathering, percolation, systematization, synthesization, integration, and distracts it to mere audiovisual stimulation and a kind of external reception that doesn't leave a certain kind of a neural circuit that is absolutely needed for retention of knowledge. In terms of cognitive sciences and in terms of understanding the functioning of the human consciousness, the limbic part of the brain, is not at all activated in the process of online reading. What is activated are those wrong parts the sensory motor part of the brain is activated. And that activates the senses, the sense of speech, the sense of seeing, the sense of touching, and the sense of, and a variety of multi-modal play of senses between hearing, between seeing, and between even, absorbing without storing it, in the limbic system, and without creating that kind of feeling related, emotion related midbrain that actually gets more activated in the case of offline reading. So in terms of the cognitive pattern and the cognitive structuring, or in terms of neural wiring of the brain, the reception of online material only creates a certain kind of instantaneous reception. It creates a certain kind of a spike, and without creating fluctuation in the potential, in the overall field of potential difference of the brain. While offline mode of reading creates new synaptic paths by stimulating new kinds of imagination, new forms of intelligence, and new kind of synthesis that one necessarily undergoes in the process of reading offline. Online reading is non-synthetic, non-syncretic, discrete, instantaneous, and that resists limbic storing and activation of the midbrain. So therefore, as human beings, if we call ourselves human beings who are primarily known for their integrated capacity, the capacity to create a kind of a holistic ecosystem of learning, is reduced to a mere artificially guided being with certain functionalities. Human beings cannot be reduced to certain learning and teaching functions, because these functionalities, one has to remember, arise from the larger context of life, and also from the context of how the brain, mind, consciousness, and the being are integrated in the form of embodied cognition, which is enacted in the form of functionalities of teaching, learning, acting, performing, fighting, quarreling, and corralling, and all kinds of action and functions that human beings have are all narrowed down and limited in the mode of digital communication by cutting off, slicing out important human functionalities that are part of the integrated human being. So if I put it in this way, the soul goes entirely missing, the soul of learning, the soul of integrating between the learning material and the human being is dispersed, disrupted, ruptured by the emergence of an altered state of consciousness, which is this consciousness of a digital being dependent on a storage platform such as Google, without creating back a sense of reliance, a sense of potentiality that one has acquired through learning. Rather, keeping it just at a surface level, at the level of transaction or exchange, in the form of an instant kind of giving away of what one has learned, is something that that creates a certain kind of deficit in the ecosystem of learning, and this deficit only gets multiplied. The deficit gets much more acute. The greater volume and quantum of learning happens in the artificially enhanced mode by way of digitization. And this creates a situation where we need to understand to what extent we have become stupid and to what extent we have gone intelligent. You can ask these two kinds of questions. Intelligence requires a certain self-knowledge and self-understanding in the context of human relationality, in the context of transaction between one human being and another. The kind of self-understanding and self-knowledge or horizons, expansion of horizons of one's own self-understanding can happen in the process of interactive teaching learning between flesh and blood human beings, is in a sense given up only to have access to some databases without being sure whether this database is going to reproduce the kind of synthetic process that knowledge requires. Now, database is a material entity, and knowledge is fundamentally immaterial. Knowledge is spiritual. Knowledge is abstract. Whether a material database with its own abstractions in computer language, in bits and bytes, matches with the human ways of abstracting knowledge, in terms of cognitive capacities and cognitive processes, is the question which we are trying to answer. And evidences do not show that there is a cognitive match between the digital human being and the human being of flesh and blood. There is a cognitive mismatch. There is a cognitive dissonance. There is an altered state of consciousness. And this altered state of consciousness doesn't necessarily produce the same learning effect that is produced through, let's say, offline reading, directly reading a book. So therefore, I refer to another paper written by Michael Uzu-Achiu. Michael Uzu-Achiu is a professor of education at Koforidua Polytechnic in Ghana. And he has produced a fantastic study. The title of the study is called Social Media Usage and Its Impact on Reading Habits. Social media usage and its impact on reading habits. A study of Koforidua Polytechnic students. He is studying, Michael is studying his own polytechnic students. And I read the abstract. The abstract says the study investigated the use of social media by students of Koforidua Polytechnic and its impact on their reading habits. Questionnaire was administered on a sample of students to gather data and information. Out of a total 1,050 questionnaires administered, 852 responses were retrieved, representing 80%. The study revealed that 92% of respondents visit social media sites every day, and they spend time between 30 minutes to 3 hours, which is less compared to India. We spend time between 30 minutes to whole day in the social media, while 66% respondents indicated that the use of social media affected their reading habits. In addition, 81% of the respondents indicated that they had not read novels, poems, newspapers, print media material within last 2 semesters. They said they haven't read anything that is printed in the form of a book, in the form of a novel, in the form of even a crime thriller, in the form of poem. Now, if the same question is asked whether they have listened to music, they may say that they have listened to a music which gives them a kind of an instant pleasure, an instant stimulation, or they have watched certain films that produces a sense of horror, a sense of enhanced sensibility of some kind, either passion, either an enhanced sense of passion or an enhanced sense of horror beyond the normal level of passion and horror, which has attracted them, and they had spent more time on such media. So you can see the kind of distraction that is happening away from the habit of reading. As much as the social media percolates, the effect is a magnified effect of being distracted from the process of reading a book. So the study concludes. The study revealed that there is a relationship between time spent on social media and reading habits, and that constant use of social media leads to low reading habits. The study recommended that faculty staff should encourage students to spend less time on the social media sites, and rather they should be encouraged to channel more of their time and energies towards offline reading of educational materials. Now, in the online also there is this distraction to certain media. Yes, Amareshwaran, you want to say something?
No, sir. I'm appreciating because you are
Oh,
combination
okay.
of psychology, philosophy, technology.
That's okay. All right. So let me just complete and then we'll discuss a little more. So I'm simply saying that in the online mode, there are these materials that distract the students more towards something that stimulates their senses. Reading doesn't necessarily stimulate the senses, but reading creates a sense of condensation of the reading material, a kind of a downward filtration to a certain repository which is held by a particular learner in one's mind or brain or in the cognitive system or in the cognitive architecture of the learner. Now, reading strengthens that cognitive architecture of retention, which is fundamentally important for reading. If that cognitive architecture for retention is weakened, if it is sort of disassembled in the form of being distracted towards some online material that excites and stimulates, instead of focusing on something that is more contemplative, something that is more imaginative, something that involves the labor of reasoning, which is absolutely essential for learning, let's say, mathematics or for understanding a piece of literature. If all that is distracted to some online audiovisual mode, the toll will be heavy on higher education. And the heavy toll on higher education would be then manifest as higher level reasoning and critical thinking will just slide or go down. And it won't be possible to develop research strategies, teaching strategies that are required to address cutting edge questions, to do research at the front line. All these educational activities and parameters of learning would suddenly get diminished and reduced to some kind of a struggle to retain a certain level, and that struggle is on at this moment in the process of continuous downsliding of intelligence, in the process of disappearance of the reading habits. What is being advocated and struggled for is somehow to retain a certain standard so that teaching and research activities can be continued in the universities, colleges, and schools. And once that completely finishes off, how it would be possible to maintain a certain level or a certain culture of researching, teaching, and learning is a very, very difficult question to ask. Now, another paper, this paper is slightly positive about social media. It's written by M. Loving and M. Ochoa. titled as Facebook as a Classroom Solution, published in the famous journal New Library World 2010. They point out that social media has proven to be generally addictive for tertiary students. Tertiary students means students at the higher education, at the postgraduate and research level, and later, those who are going to be teachers also. They are also tertiary learners. So social media sort of proves to be generally addictive for the purpose of tertiary learning, who are inclined to devote substantial amount of their limited study time to chat, maintain social connections, and make new acquaintances, or to do racketeering in the larger academic world, during the time that is necessary for teaching, research, and reading. This, in effect, according to Ofani and Gabredio, another researcher, decreased the number of time students and teachers need to read their books and other study materials. The fundamental reason for conducting this study is the fact that, as an educator, seeing students' reluctance in reading books and other studying materials, widely due to this social media menace, is a disturbing phenomenon. The problem most tertiary students and teachers have is that this kind of a poor performance in terms of reading leads to poor performance in academics. It leads to an impoverished classroom teaching. It leads to an impoverished level of reception. And the situation is a kind of a poor academic situation, or a poor academic phenomenon, as these scholars Loving points out. So, due to influence of social media, tertiary students read much less of their books. Even examination malpractices, very important thing. Examination malpractices are traceable to the use of social media, as you know very, very well, how examinations are conducted using digital media and social media. It's entirely manipulable if you have these superb computer skills. As a teacher in IIT Mumbai and also 2-3 other IITs, I had seen, before I joined NEHU, how my students were able to manipulate a large number of data to answer any kind of question that has been asked in the form of a problem. So the very interesting issue comes up here. If you look at the kind of examination that is conducted at this moment, much of the examination do not really examine the critical ability to describe, to narrate, to connect, things. But what it examines, whether one can arrive at the right answer, the predesignated right answer. That is what is examined. So the critical skill of understanding, reading, connecting, integrating knowledge is, in a sense, is dispensed with. And this attitude to dispense with the critical skill of integration of knowledge, is now sustained by an increasing thrust on constructing a problem, which has a predesignated answer. But in the large part of natural, human, or social sciences, problems are not constructed to give a predesignated, predetermined answer. Much of the problems of knowledge are highly indeterminate, they are fuzzy, and they give multiple kinds of results in multiple situations. Even if an experimental setup is a controlled experimental setup, in a controlled environment, it's not possible to always have a kind of recursive result, in a natural phenomenon. So similarly, in the case of learning and examining, this act of problem solving and this act of constructing a problem and then to produce a new hypothesis or a new algorithm is something that really doesn't create a kind of paradigm shift, that doesn't create a movement of knowledge from the lower to something that is more refined and more accurate. Rather, it moves in the same paradigm of endlessly reproducing something that is already there, recycling, reproducing, changing the cover, rebranding, putting the old wine in the new bottle. Kind of an exercise that goes on in the name of teaching and learning, which is sustained by the digital mode of learning and teaching that divests direct communication, creativity, critical thinking into the background and foregrounds certain outcomes and results, which is called as outcome-based education. So in this era of outcome-based education, there's a lot of distraction that social media can create. And therefore, users of online mode of education, they get glued to social networking sites. And subsequently, many of them get lower grades. Their future gets jeopardized as a student. And as far as teaching skills are concerned, it takes a toll on the teaching skill because a teacher depends on something like piggy riding on whatever is available in Wikipedia, instead of going to the library and conscientiously preparing a list of references, cross-references, and gathering all these materials into a new integrated framework of teaching and upgrading and keeping oneself abreast of the latest developments in a field. Instead of all that, the instant availability of certain data, which are basically put to social media by certain companies who are making huge profits out of it, is making, is making a guinea pig out of the teachers or learners who don't by themselves have to do anything now, as if everything is predetermined, pre-designed, and they have to just get into it like boarding into an aeroplane or into a rocket, instead of making the aeroplane, experimenting with it, flying it, and then getting into it, instead of all these cognitive skills and mental process of laboring. The mental labor has been totally divested from this artificially created ecosystem of teaching and learning, and that is taking a huge toll on the standard of teaching. And this is being short-circuited into a kind of a problem-solving, predetermined, answer extracting kind of a process, which we name as examination. Indeed, it is no examination. It is just a reproduction of what has been already there as part of a repository to which one has access in a digital mode. And one can now add the scale of manipulation and downloading in order to answer any question that is being put to anyone. So divested of the support of the social media, divested of the support of the digital media, whether a teacher or a learner can at all produce any knowledge, can exercise critical thinking and creativity, is becoming a big crisis, a kind of an emptiness, a kind of a hollowed out situation in the ecosystem of teaching and learning, which is not a very good sign, And then, just to end my talk, I would like to demonstrate you idea about reading. Reading is a reading of the depth. Reading is never reading at the level of the surface. Of course, surface connections are important, but the depth analogies, the depth metaphors, the depth structure of a text, which connects you to a certain horizon, which takes you to a question that is not answered by a certain text, which is a kind of intersectional reading. Reading at the joints, reading at the edges, reading as a creative exercise, such as dancing and not just dreaming, and reading cross-referentially, intertextually, is a live process of reading, and then all these processes go into creating a different faculty of imagination. It imagines new things which are not in existence at this moment. Now that process of reading and imagining is getting divested of, as people do not read literature. They don't read a philosophical text. They don't read an ancient text. They don't read any other language except a chosen language, such as English or Hebrew or Hindi or Tamil or any other such language, making us more and more unitary, more and more, one-dimensional. We become more and more one-dimensional in our shrunk ecosystem of teaching and learning. So how we get out of it is the question, as if we are living, all of us are living in glass cases and trying to throw stones at each other. But none of us are trying to remove that glass ceiling and the glass case that creates that sense of hallucination that we are part of an ecosystem. How to redesign and return to the flesh and blood context of the life of a book, life of writing, life of reading, life of imagining, life of thinking, life of synthesizing, creating. That is the challenge for the present time of higher education. Okay, Dr. Amareshwaram, this is where I give a kind of a semicolon. We can discuss. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I'm allowing the participant to talk directly with the resource person. Anyone?
Yeah, Amar, I have few.
Sure.
Please.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, sir. So I was very delighted, and it was a very nice lecture, sir. So you've seen the in and out of what is happening in the online. I really want to appreciate Amar for giving us such a topic and getting a exact resource person for that topic. That is another thing I have to congratulate. Greet Amar. Sir, my observation or a question is as a teacher and as a parent.
Sure.
See, sir, as a teacher now we are forced to go for online because we don't have any other, because of this pandemic, we don't have any other option. We are forced to go for online, and we are taking the class in such a way that for a teacher to present a class for half an hour or 1 hour itself is difficult. Okay, sir. This is in an university system. We have hardly 3 to 4 class per day, not more than 3, I think so. Now you see from the student angle, the student is to sit for 4 to 5 class or 6 class per day. The what you told of concentration and the diversion part, it is huge for us itself as a teacher to concentrate and deliver a topic for 1 hour is very difficult. So now we have to see from the student perspective that how much they are able to observe it and take it into. That becomes a big question mark. So this is a big thing that you have rightly pointed out, sir. This is one of my observation. The next is as a parent. So now you know that a lot of online gadgets have come, like for this preparation. So I also bought one tool for my son. So he was very happy with going and listening the video and all those things. This I bought him before the pandemic part, so nothing to do with pandemic. So because we are in this place where we need some additional coaching, we don't have those kind of resources. In that angle I bought him, so nothing to do with pandemic. Okay, sir. So he was going with this tool and he was very much happy, and he was doing it. He was very much interactive, and whenever we asked a topic, he was good. But I faced the problem when Nazar, when we went for the pandemic holiday, and I was in my hometown, and the school called that they have to take the pre-board physically, because for 1 year, 1.5 years, they were doing everything online. When they told that he has to do the pre-board exam physically, when we come from my hometown and he attended the exam, he was unable to write. Literally, the reason is that it is not that he don't know the subject. He was unable to write because of the sheer fear. He told that, Papa, my hands were shivering, it was sweating. So these are the two practical things as a teacher and as a parent I want to put before user. So because we don't have an option. So now as a psychologist or a senior faculty, I want your opinion how to overcome this, sir. Because for some time period, we are going to live with pandemic. That is sure. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Ravi,
Ravi,
it's an authentic, genuine problem that you have posed. Okay, so I think that it's an existential problem. The more one is distracted to this digital mode of education, more we are losing the capacity to read, write, remember, reproduce, and all that. We are getting totally gadget dependent. And it is from the gadget storage that we can download an idea. And in the process, no learning is happening. No question answer, no direct communication, no dialogue, no reciprocation. So this human part of learning, or rather the humanistic part of learning, the difference between a robot learner and a zombie learner and the human learner and a human teacher is to be realized now. Your child's example is fantastic. Actually establishes the point that I have been making. Thank you, Ravi. I think I agree with you.
Actually, Ravi sir, I add a few things with the permission of the resource person.
Sure. Please,
Actually,
please.
whenever practice makes man perfect, here those are school management. It is their duty to give the option whether to select online exam or offline exam, because the students are not in a position to practice the writing. There is no homework for writing, only online. That is why always in our NEHU group, Dr. Prasanjit Viswasar is all pointing out in the administration, because it's their duty to work based on our needs. But they are not at all, because here heartful touching is missing. So student, it is as a parent, our duty, even though they are learning online, better at least per day, half of the page or one page writing is very, very important. I give you one nice example. Professor Chennaya sir, even Prasanjit Biswa sir knows very well, from Sri Venkateswara University. He's writing per day 1 hour, Hindi, English and Telugu, 3 languages, daily writing on the paper, sir. Even though he's using computer, he has laptop or desktop, but he's started to write like this, because these things are out of the box. So we don't know, it is decision making power is in the hands of the school. We can't change the decision of the school. So in future also there may be a same type of problem. Better as a parent, you think 360 degrees, ask them to write. Suppose reading newspaper, ask them to note down few things. If we make both software and technology at the same time traditional.
Dr. Amar,
Yeah,
Dr. Amar, see the practicing part I really appreciate it. That is there is no other option in it. What I'm telling is that, see, he was taking exam in the online mode. When he went suddenly to the offline mode, he was not having the practice of seeing the classroom and having the exam, because in the online mode they were freedom, na? They can do within 3 hours, they can do within 2 hours, but in a closed environment they have to stick on to the time. Teacher were before them. So all those things created a panic to the children. It is not that only my child.
It is that duty.
I'm talking of the
identified.
environmental problem. That only I want to highlight here.
No, sir.
Thank you.
That is why it is better to identify the readiness of the student. Even some tools are available. So their duty, that is, whenever exam is there, pre-exam, they're conducting in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Before final exam, pre-exam is there, sir, to reduce the type of fear. Some of students in our NEHU also, they written, sir, 5 questions in our NEHU pattern, but 3 questions only they answered. Extraordinarily they answered. but they are unable to get the 100% because they are not in a position to manage the time. In our NEHU pattern also, we are not providing, we are always asking them direct exam. So never put the pre-exam such type of things as a parent, because we are people from teaching, sir, how to teach, how to learn, even for online interaction also. Sir, after your session, I'm going to do hands-on activities. How I can make? There are 101 teaching tools are there, 300 learning tools are there, 75 assessment tools are there. Because of unawareness of these tools, some of teachers are not able to how to interact. Even collaborative tools are also available. Whenever I'm planning to make one NEHUTA session, sir, weekly once at least. So it is better we can invite a resource person like you and sir and others. They can elaborate and they can share. Thank you for asking nice question, Dr. Ravi sir. Any other?
Yeah, please ask any other. Right.
Anyone? It is a very golden opportunity. Here, sir is here as a resource person, but I can say one beautiful and excellent characteristics of sir. All intelligence are not courageous, but all courageous teachers are intelligent. So here, sir has the two characters, both intelligent at the same time courageous. Sir can question. The questioning attitude is very, very important. That is also questioning attitude towards administration. Now the Dr. Ravi sir pointed out how many are able to ask the parents to the principal of the school. You are doing this type of things, it is not good, and the feedback is, so feedback mechanism is very, very important to interact with the Professor Prasenjit Biswas sir is not an easy task. Sir is an international scholar, but luckily sir available. Even I took 8 years to invite sir as a resource person. Sir always moving international. Now because of COVID available, please, it is better. I can give another 10 minutes also with the permission of sir to interact directly any participants. It's a golden opportunity. I am allowing you again. Already I allowed, please. Anyone? Otherwise, I will ask by myself. Here, sir, from professors are also joining, sir. Always extremely Dakar ma'am, our dean, and Professor Aruna ma'am, Professor Radhakrishnan sir from Sri Venkateswara University, and regularly. Anyone? I think sir, Rajni Upadhyay, I think she is from New Delhi. Swapna Gaikwad, Pune University. Swapna ji, are you there? Okay, I think they have fear to ask sir. Now it is a time to say vote of thanks to Dr. Prasenjit Biswas sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it gives immense pleasure to express our gratitudes, because it is very, very difficult to get such type of wonderful lecture, a man of philosophy, psychology, sociology, and a technological approach. Sir is good writer. Sir, you can observe the vocabulary and the ways of presentation, both oral, verbal communication is equal to oral plus verbal plus non-verbal. Sir, using both verbal and non-verbal effective communicator and reaching not only administration, even the government and the non-governmental organizations. It is the time to express, sir. There is no words to describe the value and the worthiness of your lecture. It is my pleasure and privilege to say simply, I can't say simply thanks, but we utilize your services in future also, sir. We are grateful to you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Omar, for giving me this opportunity.
Sir.
Bye. Bye to everyone.
Welcome, sir.
Bye.
Bye, sir. Right, sir.
Bye. 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 Yeah. Bye, Shrutashreni. We'll talk later. Yeah, sure. Okay, sure. Bye now.
Thank you, sir. Now it is time to ask any participants. We are going to do hands-on activities. Ma'am, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I would like to request you to start your natural activities.
Nothing, ma'am. Nothing, ma'am. So we are regularly doing, no problem. Simply, I will start, ma'am.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now it is my pleasure to invite any participant to share his or her screen. Please raise your hand or text me or speak. You are allowed to speak. We are going to assess your online learning skill. Those who already completed online learning skill assess, we are going to assess one more innovative, how much innovative skills you have. So how much innovative you are, we are going to assess, because these assessments are very, very important. Assessment is a part of learning. Under Bloom's taxonomy, you know about application, analysis, evaluation, and creation. So to reach the creative level, creation, it is our duty to assess ourselves where you are. Anyone? Never hesitate to say, because I also don't know many things. It is my duty to learn. Anyone? Anyone? With the Mamta Bhatnagar, are you there? Neeta Sahu from SS Khanna Girls Degree College.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, Mamta Bhatnagar ji, I am allowing you to share your screen. Please share your screen. I am making you Mamta. Yeah, I made you co-host also. You are co-host now. Share your screen.
Sir, wait, sir.
Today we prepared nice certificate for all of you. I will share the feedback form at 4:25. Someone may be not able to fill the feedback form. Please approach me before 12 p.m. itself also, no problem, because my bedtime is 12 to 6. I can serve you up to 12 o'clock. If you are coming next day, it always creating problem, because we are doing many programs. Someone is asked today also 4th day, because once you keep link live, there may be a chance to misuse. You are participating actively. There is the need to give difference, show some difference. Those who are really participated, those who are not participated. Mamta ji, do you have any problem?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I was in another meeting of my institution, so I missed this session, sir.
Okay, no problem. Nothing. Just you simply share your screen, boss.
Okay, sir. Okay. I am doing, sir. Sir,
Yeah, after sharing, go to chat box and open this my blog.
okay.
The chat box just now I posted. Even YouTube participants are also. I'm sharing a link here. You just simply follow the ma'am Mamta ji. In our Telugu language, we are calling Mamata, but here Mamta only, M-A-M-T-A.
So you can call Mamata also. No problem, sir.
Okay, madam.
Sir, is it visible
Just
from
simply.
my side?
No, it is
Okay,
not
sir.
visible, ma'am.
Oh, then.
Already I load. You are presenter.
Sir, what I have
Click
to
share
do?
and select
I'm not
entire
able to
screen.
understand, sir.
Not able to share.
Sir, I'm trying. Share screen. Now the options are optimized for image and optimized for video. There are two options. What I have to do, sir? Optimize for video.
Select both you select.
Oh, sir, only one I can select. Include
It is in the download, na? Just
yes,
wait.
sir.
I will check why you are facing problem. Just 1 minute. No, nothing is showing to me. Whenever you simply you can select window, file, whiteboard is only.
File device.
No, in the left side, whenever you are
I'm taking help
sharing,
of
I'm
my
again
team.
giving permission. Again giving permission. Whenever you are, it asks at the bottom right side bottom, share. You select the window and share. Now again I given the permission. Yeah, now you can do. Simply click share. See the window, select any window of your main window and right side down, share. Click on share, blue color emblem, menu. If it is not possible, I can ask some others. Because
I think you select anyone else, sir.
okay, Mamta madam, I think it is not good to wait this much time. So I'm going
Yes,
to
sir.
ask
I
some
think,
other.
sir. Yes, sir. But I'm trying.
Okay,
but I'm
okay,
not
thank you.
able to.
So any other?
Okay, sir.
Vishnu Prasad Sarma ji from Shillong. Are you able to share? Sarma ji, I'm going to allow you to talk. You can talk. Vishnu Prasad Sarma ji.
Yes, sir. Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you able to share?
No, sir. I am watching in mobile, sir.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, sir. Next time I will download this in web.
No,
Sir,
it is
actually,
my
I'm
humble
also
request to
watching in
all the
mobile.
participants. No,
Sir,
no,
I
no,
am.
no. No, 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 no. Mobile is not good because screen level is very small
Sir,
and
can
it
I
is
do it with
creates
my
problem to
tablet?
watch.
Sir, can I do
So,
it with my tablet?
who, ma'am? Who is speaking?
Tablet. Mamta.
No, no, no.
Can
Who
I do
is?
it with my tablet?
Okay, okay. You can do. Yeah, you can do.
Sir, wait.
So, which account?
I have to start my tablet now. Sir,
Okay, meanwhile, I am
think
going to share them. Okay, you be ready. I'm going to share my screen with the participant. It is better. Right. So actually, this is my blog. I'm waiting. Right. This is my blog, ICT Integrated Education Neuroscience for this one I recently delivered on 2nd September at HRDC NEHU. Here, assessment tools already we assessed the participants how much digital capabilities they have, 12 parameters. Blended learning, we are going to this one also we completed. Now the third one is online learning self-assessment tool. So when you click this one, already I shared this blog address with all of you in the chat box. You will get one Google form. Actually,
Sir,
this one I got the PDF. Please, anyone?
sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
Maybe it is not for all or
Is
only
the
for you.
Google form, sir?
Yeah, Google form.
Visible, sir. Visible, sir.
Actually, here one more thing, my humble request to the participants, because of your network issue also it is not visible. So don't think that it is not visible for all. So it is the problem from your side also. Please go through it. Now, just I'm giving Mamta ma'am is ready. So this one is email ID, full name, designation, institutional address, department. This one why I provided. Myself and Dr. Sutasni Gogoi ma'am, we organized one day national workshop on online learning self-assessment here. After doing, we generated a certificate also. So after filling this personal data information, there are 25 statements are there, 5 area parameters. How much? If you are again, I'm going. It is not good to inform how much if you get what level you are, because after assessment it is better. I will wait for all. Once you started to submit your feedback form, I will get here also who are submitted. Suppose here I think participants 130 participants are there. How many are going to submit. I can see, I can assess. Mamta ji, are you ready? Mamta madam, are you ready?
No, sir. I'm not ready, sir.
Oh, okay, I will search for any other participant. But in future, it is better to join those who have laptop with your laptop, because already I mentioned the hands-on activities. What about Dr. Shobha Sharyaji not there? I'm going to stop the screen. Swapna Gaikwad ji from Pune, SPPU, Savitribai Phule Pune University. Are you there? Swapna ji? Almost all joined with their mobile only. Sonali Jaiswal. Okay. So I'm making Sonali as a co-host. Always Sonali is coming forward. Okay. Sonali, you are allowed, please. Good. All the participants are also, you do like this. Go to my blog, open the first post, click online. Okay. You click online. Next. So here I have an email account and frequently communicate through emails. Just 1 minute, Sonali, don't move. I want to express a few things to them. Here I have an email account and frequently communicate through emails. Here I am going to show you how to send a confidential email which will be disappeared automatically after 1 day, after 5 days, after 1 month, 5 years, like that. Sonali, go to your first window, your mail, Gmail. Go to your, simply click first window. First window. Okay, you have 2 Gmails. Okay, click inbox. Don't open this one. Simply click inbox. Now compose, simply compose. Whenever you are going to maximize this window, maximize this one. Compose window, yes, good. Now got it, click, yeah. So see, whenever you are sending the to address, you simply type someone to your family members. Okay, subject, family information, simply something, because it's a confidential, na? Right. If you want to send the down menu after sending, now you have file. So simply last, go to second last. Yes, this is turn on confidential mode. Click it. See here, no SMS passcode. Even you can put passcode also. You click here, expire in 1 week. Check above. Yes, click here. Different periods are available. Expire 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 5 years. So you select 1 day only. 1 day only you select. So automatically it will expire. Recipients won't have the option to forward, copy, print or download this email. This one they can, but what you can do, just here I am giving the solution also. Suppose this one is not copyable, not forwardable, not printable, even downloadable. But what you can do, in your Sonali, type here to search. Click that, type here in search in your computer, bottom, left side bottom, left side down, bottom, left side, yes. Spinning tool, SPINNING, spinning tool. SPINNING. Yes, already came, already. Enter. No, you just come back, remove single word one by one. No, not this, not like this. You again type, SPI. Yeah, came to select SPI, sorry, not snipping, is a snipping tool. I pronounced wrongly, sorry, Sonali. Yeah, you click it, double click. Snipping tool, not, yeah. Snipping tool here is moving. Try, click it. Try snip and here. And up. New, click on new. Snipping tool here, new. Click on new. Yes. Now you select whatever your portion you want. Simply the confidential mode window you select. No, that one you don't do anything. Don't do anything. You can drag that window somewhere. You can drag it. Yes. Now again click on new. Click on new. Yeah. Now you select this confidential mode, whole window. Simply drag. Whenever you are selecting any figure, na the no, it is not able. Okay, I will show this one. Don't worry. Okay, whenever you want to, suppose in PDF file you are reading, you want to select one image, one table. It is not possible to normally if you copy and paste, the design will be changed, the format will be changed. So for that purpose, it is your duty. Now you save it. Click on save. Do you want passcode? If you want passcode, click on SMS passcode. Save. Yeah, you send any information, just simply type one word or something. Simply type something, Sonali. Okay, send. So it will, now time is 3:52. Like tomorrow 3:51 it will disappear. Now you enter your mobile number. You will get when they receive, you will even, yeah, phone number is required. So recipients can verify their identity using an SMS passcode. Send. Bus. So this is the one. Another thing, whenever you are using any transaction, Sonali, go to top, right side top, 3 buttons, menu buttons are there. Now click open incognito mode. Incognito mode. Right side top. Sonali, your cursor is not moving. Yes. Whenever you are doing any, simply open incognito mode, type SBI online. New incognito mode. Yes, new incognito mode window. Type SBI online. SBI online. Whenever you are typing in the address bar, no space. Sonali, remember this one. No space. Never give any space. If your web address, this is a search word, it's okay. But whenever you are typing web address, yeah, enter. Just simply enter. Your internet is slow or what? Now put Control H, history, to see your history in your keyboard, Control H. Now see, your mail opened at 3:52, SBI Online you opened at 3:54, but it is not visible. So whenever you are using any financial transactions, booking flights, and using a private, not your, sorry, public computer, please go to incognito mode to save yourself, to protect yourself. Otherwise, the cybercrime, the experts are always searching you and seeing what you are doing, they can track. So this is the right way. Now you come back to the online tool. There are so many things. Email, we can deliver one lecture how to effective writing an email. Right, you select again, you open twice, Sonali. I think this is not one. Okay, no problem, click it. An email account and frequently communicate through emails. I have an email, yes. Next, so that is why you go to next. Before this slide, before this window, you can be, because you open twice now, just click this one. Yes, you fill this one. I know how to use an internet browser to navigate to the websites. Good. Next, I have fairly good typing skills. I know how to save a document to my desktop or to a folder on my hard drive. I have home access here to a high-speed cable modem or DSL internet connection. Next. Right. I don't mind here taking risk when learning under this parameter. I am not afraid of making mistake if I am learning to do new things. Good. If it does not bother me, sorry, it does not bother me if I answer incorrectly in a new learning situation. I don't mind asking instructor for help if I don't know how to do something. Ma'am, Professor Sungo is the right person. She never hesitate to ask. I don't mind displaying my work in front of others. Here, why, Sonali, I appreciate you. Even we are discussing with Dr. Swatosini Gogoi, ma'am. Very few only, Indubala, Sonali, and some others are coming forward. Only 1 or 2%. Because of fear only they are not coming forward. I am not, and another thing, mobile they are enrolled. I am not easily frustrated when I am learning new things. Next. Right, here I am an organized and self-disciplined learner. Under this parameter, I tend to start new tasks early to get a head start on them. Today is the last day for ICSSR major research, minor research project submission, application submission. Many teachers are still working because they do at the last moment. When I have a lot of things to do, I schedule them to make sure I get them done. I almost never let things go until the last minute. That is good habit. I tend to plan my daily activities to allow enough time to accomplish. I know I can make a weekly commitment of time to complete my coursework. Here I want to share one information with all of you. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji always asking the PMO officials to bring how he utilized yesterday time, where he can adjust nicely for effective utilization of time. This type of management they are doing. Next. I know I am responsible for my own learning. I believe it is a rewarding to be a high achiever. My success have always been because of my efforts. Luck rarely played a role. Many people, they feel that luck, karma. I'm always listening, watching Mukundananda. Destiny is not given by the God. It is the karma, prarabdha karma, sanchita karma. So the way, if you are not feeling good, it is better to do good effort in the present birth. I try to achieve in all my classes, regardless of their level of difficulty. I usually reach the goals I set for myself. It's a goal oriented. Even Bhagirathi Panda sir also said goal oriented. I tend, okay. I have good communication and study skills. I have good reading comprehension. Dr. Prasenjit Biswas sir told the reading is a, along with reading, you are supposed to do many things because after 2 weeks, you can remember only 10% of what you read. I am comfortable with expressing myself in writing. This is a good. Here, I want to share the teachers, whenever you are communicating to the administration, whenever you are getting something, always ask in writing. What happened few days back, one of teachers, he said something with me, but he came with the different types of letter. So I'm really wondered, that is why it is always better. And another thing, it is time to say, Sonali, don't submit. It is time to share. I attended one national work webinar organized by Bhagirathi Panda sir and ISTM, Institute for the Society, Indian Society for Training and Development, ISTD Shillong chapter. In IAS training, Dr. Chennai, Professor Chennai sir told, they always teach, never hesitate to say no. In our Telugu language, we are calling kadu, ledu. So it is not possible or no. If you are hesitating to say, it is you are going to face a problem. Please never hesitate to say no and not possible. Next, I like working on tasks independently. I don't need face-to-face contact. Submit. So how much? So we will wait for, thank you, Sonali. You can close your window. I'm taking, don't worry, I will take. Right. So now I'm going to share how many participants they submitted. We can see. Please submit. We'll wait before going to know what type of learner you are, online learner, online self-assessment tool.
Sir, I submitted. Is it in your desk, sir?
What?
I submitted, sir.
No problem, no problem. I'm going to show you all your results. I'm going to show you. How many are submitted, we can see here. Right now, time we started at 3:52. Date is today, yeah, 6th September. Yes, here you can see 6th September. Pushpanjali, she got 23. So it is, don't take anything negative here, who is less, who is more, that is because it's self-assessment. So here, Swagatam Devanath 18, Nita Sahu 22. I'm going to tell you who is excellent, who is average, who is below average. So you can see your only, see how many. I need more. 597 started. Less than 20 participants only submitted. Please submit all, it is better. I will wait for another 7 minutes. Meanwhile, those who are submitted, please go through my blog. There are more than 110 posts are there. Okay, those who have, you can do later, no problem, not to do by now. Those who have network issue, please never ask the feedback from again and again. I am sharing every day, you know about how, again you are asking here, this is a time only, it's 4 o'clock. schedule itself is a 4:30. Okay. I'm sending link again, my blog link. Sonali, you share my blog link again. Some of participants are asking. Yeah, Babajan, I think he is a research scholar from Hyderabad Central University. Come on, please, please. I will wait another 5 minutes. Yeah, go to my blog first. Go to my blog. When you click online learning self-assessment tool, the window will open. You fill your email ID, full name, designation, institution address, department, gender, your sex, highest education qualification. Click next. There are 25 statements are there. Closed ended, yes or no only. You simply answer truthfully and don't think too much. Whenever you are assisting yourself, better to read the statement, give your answer and submit. Based on your submission, I can show you where you are, how much you got. Based on that, whether you are
Sir,
excellent. Yeah, please.
Respected Reddy, sir.
Yeah.
In our area, heavy rain is going on, sir. Due to rain, in our area, network is not connecting, sir. Within few
No
minutes, I will
problem.
connect it. Thank
No
you, sir. Thank you,
problem.
sir.
Those already, I'm always giving excuse for those who have really problem. My blog address is available for you.
Thank you, sir.
You
Thank
can
you
do
very
at
much.
any moment. No need to worry. Just simply note down my blog address. Bas.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, welcome. Come on. Only 3 minutes. Then I'm going to show you online learning, University of Leeds. I completed 4 courses, how to learn online, how to search content itself. And myself and Dr. Sutasri Gogoi ma'am developed a 7S model of learning and teaching through online. Before pandemic itself, we developed search, select, study, skillful, store, share, and smart. Very few, almost see 23 participants only submitted, only 23. Please, it is better to do as early as possible. Okay, I don't show your marks. I will see only your name. Okay. Now you can submit. It is not visible for anybody. Come on. Just like feedback form, you can do in your mobile also. Good. Because simply listening and moving, that is not good. Assessment. Because of MOOC courses, MOOC, one of the quadrants is evaluation. E-text, videos, discussion forum, and evaluation. By doing MOOC courses, testing ourselves again and again, so it gives confidence, it motivates us to learn more. I will wait only 1 minute. Those who are not submitted, you can do later. Nothing to send. Vishnu Prasad Sharma ji, nothing to send. If you submit, automatically I will get. No need to send anything. Okay, it is better. I'm closing this and I'm just informing the result for all of you. If possible, I will open the window itself. It is better to show you. I think only few video files. Tool is not available, I think, here. No problem. Those who got, please note down. Up to 19, those who got 19, they are below average. They are facing problem. 20, 21, 22, they are average. 23 and above, they are excellent. Those who got 23 and above, they are excellent. So 20, 21, 22, these 3 marks. They are average online learners. 23 and above are excellent online learners. Please, those who are getting 19 and below 19, please take care of yourself. Where you are selected no, those areas you can concentrate. So this is about online learning. Now I am going to show you the future learn, because as a resource person, I am available for only these workshop hours. Because we have some other works, upskill works, research work, these things. And if you need, maybe you can contact through email or Telegram. So this is actually the Future Learn is one MOOC provider. Future Learn. There are 51 MOOC providers are there. I completed almost more than 320 courses from this single MOOC provider. Why I selected, I'm going to show you why I like this MOOC provider excellent and very much. This is a UK MOOC provider. EDX is a Coursera, USA based, and Swayam in Indian based. This is a homepage of Future Learn. Simply click on subjects. Whenever, how to, even I am going to show you, that is the first step. It is better. I have another 15 minutes, but I share you feedback at 4:25. Right. This is the home page. So those who are new learners, it is better to register first. Those who have already account, they can sign in. So already when you need register, it is your duty to click email address, choose password, Otherwise, you create here, register by using Facebook, register using Google. So sign in. Already I have account, and so I can here. This is sign in. If I want to register, it asks few things. Because already I have account, that is why it is showing. Otherwise, your first name, last name, age 18 or over, the type of information it will ask. Okay, I have, yes, this is the register. Your first name, last name, age 18 or over, it is better to select. I am registered already. Okay, if you are registered, no problem. Register. One link you will get your email, activate that one. After activating, you can log in. So I'm always using my Facebook. Yes, straight away I will move here. So these are all the subjects because it's a heterogeneous group. You can see business management, Dr. Sarita Abhigyan Bhattacharya sir, Dr. Sarita from Yogi Vemana University, they are from business management. Creative arts and media, ma'am, Stream Lead Dakar ma'am from language, healthcare and medicine, even history, some teachers, IT and computer science, language, ma'am, Aruna ma'am and Radhakrishnan sir, law department. Here, morning also, Professor Chintamani Raut sir, NEHU professor, law professor joined. Literature, ma'am, Stream Lead Dakar ma'am and others. Nature and environment, politics and society, psychology and mental health, even science, engineering, maths. Actually, we are calling STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, maths, study skills, and teaching. So courses, there are 4 types of courses: short courses, expert tracks, micro credential programs. Under this, I got 7 Future Learn Awards, online degrees. Then you are learning whatever courses you already joined and you completed, all those things available here. I completed few programs also. Just Abhigyan Bhattacharya is presented on blended learning. These things I completed in the year 2018. University of Leeds, I completed these 5 courses on blended learning. This one you can see, very nice. By doing this course, I got 1 award. After this, there are so many programs are there. So it shows only one here. If you want to under what type of courses, these are short courses. Essential skills for your career development. We are going to do this course. This is a free of cost. You will get, but only negative marks are there. You will get a certificate also. Entrepreneurship skills here, designing for a sustainable future, making teacher education is Africa. I completed in the year 2018, 17 and 18. There are so many courses. Now I'm going to show you my achievements. After completing each course, even Bhagirathi Pandasa professor is telling learning outcome based. See here, these are all my certificates. STEM, I told about STEM courses, and just not to show my greatness, just to motivate you only, I'm sharing all these things. How much? By doing this course, British Council, so many University of Reading, University of East Anglia, see how many universities. Here, Purdue University, here even UNS, University of Sydney, the Open University UK, Coventry University. See, so many universities, almost 80 universities are there. So these are all by doing only we reach to this level. This is a never-ending program. Even in the keynote speech, Professor Sirish Paul Singh are also, Samsung also see. They are reaching even King's College. Professor Jogin Kalita sir from Gauhati University is going to deliver on, I think, 20th. He is coming. So career skills for 2020 here, navigating at online work, world of work. This one also excellent for our professional development. I'm going to handle these 2 courses for you, MOOC courses. You will get certificates. So many things are there. Only thing you need. So here, before going to conclude today, I'm going to share a few research based 19 courses I completed. So it is available in my blog itself. So I'm closing this one. Yeah, in the month of June, we organized one international workshop in collaboration with Pune University. I think many participants, they joined there. June, July. Yes, educational research, innovative ways of. Here you can see these are all courses. Right. See, shortcut methods for searching and researching. This one actually is on the research methodology. This one is a publication, Tyler and Francis, How Researcher Changed the World. It is a 12-week courses are available. Already I did these 2 courses, and what I did to share the information with the participants, I stored in my Google Drive, 7S model I told now. So when I click, automatically one window will open. You can get all the 12 weeks material here. This is very useful for research scholars and how to publish articles. Now everyone is concentrated on Scopus. Is a mid-career learning program is also there. Those for early and mid-career. Here, Professor Sridhar Reddy sir, Sri Venkateswara University, is Ma'am Sunita ma'am from Geology, Assistant Professor, and now Associate Professor, I think. Sir selected for mid-career UGC awards. There are so many different types of awards under UGC. So these are all the MOOC courses. Simply go to see. I told you 19 courses exactly. Educational research 3 courses. Systematic literature review. Research here, research writing, how to do literature review 2 courses. Why research matters. Why research matters. Evidence at work. Sir told Bhagirathi Banda sir. Why planning your research matters. Why experience matters. Is a qualitative research and quantitative research. Ethics, this one also sir pointed out. Why ethics matter. UGC is also giving more importance to research ethics, research integration, introduction to research ethics, 2 courses. People studying people, this is the one more on research. Community based research, maybe adult education, those who are social works, population studies. Academic integrity is very, very important. How to write a PhD research proposal, discovering your PhD potential, and developing your research project. Now many are submitting, but if you do these courses, it is very useful, and learning online, researching your project. So I need some more time, but this is not sufficient. It is better now. Almost I'm stopped sharing here. You can go through it. Now I'm going to share a feedback form with all of you. So please fill the feedback form. YouTube. Please, YouTube participants also, please fill the feedback form. If you have any queries, I'm just typing my email ID here. Better those who are joining through YouTube, if you come to the Cisco WebEx, you can interact. Now you are not able to interact. It's a passive learning only. But because of network issue you are doing, I know. So better in future, try to, whenever we have program, move some distance. Okay. Okay, I'm going to unmute all. Right. Okay, now I'm requesting if you have any queries, I'm ready to answer. Anyone? You can speak. Anyone? So some of research scholars, they're asking, sir, how to publish article, how to write article. It is, please. Yeah, who is speaking? Yeah.
I'm Dr. Nidhi Dharbadi.
Yeah, please.
From Jabalpur.
Please, ma'am.
From Jabalpur. I was unable to connect to you day before yesterday. So I was unable to fill the feedback form.
Okay.
So how can I do it? Day before yesterday.
Okay. No. These type of things you can ask after a program. You can send already. I asked to join in the Telegram group. You post privately like this. Because this is a common group. This is your personal thing. Better, this is my sincere, humble request to all the participants. If it is an individual benefit, better to contact later. Whatever you are asking, it is maybe a good for all. So this type of things, I'm really okay. Nidhi ji, you can contact me through my Telegram group or mail. But really, I'm telling again and again, some of the participants are sending mail. I'm requesting to join the Telegram group, and because it's very easy for me to forward. Because mail is a different thing. For other purpose, for group messages, I can send. But in general, if you have any query, please join Telegram group. You can send from there and you can reach me. Welcome. Right. Any other?
Okay, sir. Oh, no, sir. Thank you,
Welcome.
sir. Okay.
Any other? It is necessary to complete these courses in given time only because I was not able to complete in the given. There is no such type of course. Actually, please don't mind. I am not restricting you to do this time only, that time only, because my way of approach is a flexible. Actually, blended learning I like very much, but I am not able to send the feedback form only. Those who are really attended, I can give because it's a ICSSR sponsored one. And you can do at your convenient time because situation, the place, person, and the time is important. PPT, just like a PowerPoint presentation, place, person, and time. So sometime maybe your place is not convenient for you. So better to follow that one.
Type something on the session is very useful. Just that also is sufficient.
So anything? Okay. If you don't have anything, yeah, please. Grace, Vanilla. Okay, now people are leaving. It is not good to wait for you. Now I am. Anybody?
Yes, sir. I'm Jyoti Vath, sir.
Please.
Sir, I want to know about the future learning. Actually, sir, I have started 2 courses, but I was not able to complete in those weeks. I want to know can I complete those courses because in the given time I was not able to complete them.
No, actually, in the future learn, it is not just like a Swayam. The course start date is there and the end date is there. You can do 2 weeks course within 2 days also. There is no such type of condition. Only unless if the course is not available in the MOOC provided platform, it is not possible. If it is there, you can do. But only one thing, you are not able to get certificate for all because you are a free learner. Only 53 courses you can do with certificate. Remaining courses you can learn and you can do 90% of the courses. So better don't purchase anything right now. Once you go through it, if you feel good, you become a 1-year member by paying almost 22,000 rupees. I paid in 2018 and 19 before pandemic. I utilized nicely. Again, I am going to renew my accounts.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. So anything? Donai, or do you want to say something? Dr. Donai, you are not audible. Okay, then I will, because since morning we are sitting, again I have our conference tomorrow morning. So it is better to say bye to all of you. Thanks for joining. Still we are more than 100 participants are here. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, one and all.
Sir, I have some questions, sir.
Babajan, please.
Please.
From Hyderabad Central
University, I know. Please.
I'm
Sir,
going
thank
to
you so
make
much, sir.
Just wait.
Sir, actually, before you, sir, presented very nicely. He quotes so many books, sir. I am not able to note down the book names. If you provide, it is very informative book, sir. It will help us.
Don't worry.
But
Those are not books.
Those are actual.
Articles.
Anna. Okay. Yeah, now you can speak. Babajan, are you from Andhra Pradesh or Telangana?
Sir, I am from Andhra Pradesh, sir. Rayalaseema, Chittoor.
Okay. So you can speak Telugu. Good.
అవును సార్ తెలుగులో మాట్లాడి ఇబ్బంది ఏం లేదు.
Okay. You can
contact me later.
later.
చాలా బాగుంటుంది వినడానికి.
After this program.
Okay,
thank you one and all, and see you tomorrow at 10 AM International Conference.
Thank you, sir.
So now I'm declaring, I think ma'am, stream lead Dakar or professors are not. Yeah, no problem. Now I'm declaring the program is over. Today is end. See you tomorrow. Thank you.